This is about what happened to me through Facebook. Um, it started small with like highlighting videos that I should watch and stuff like that. Um, but there was one time that affected my life pretty deeply. It was it's hard to explain, but it was articulately like one of my Facebook friends was dressed up to look like an enemy. He had different a different structure that was added to his original picture to make him look alien um, or dangerous or something like that. And it was like so articulately done through the Facebook at the time that it had me kind of tranced out, thinking that, Facebook was kind of trying to dress up certain individuals as enemies towards me, and that I should be like the commander off of Halo and go to war and fight these people or destroy them somehow, which of course I could never prove, right? Like it was just a figment of my imagination. And because my mother had me diagnosed with schizophrenia, because I told them about why my sister didn't like me as a child or why she treated me the way she did as a child. And I was just really happy um, to find out that I didn't do anything wrong, because, like, my sister was the person in the wrong that time. I was so happy. I went up to my mother and I was like, just extraordinarily happy. And she had the police come and sedate me and take me to the hospital, because I was just happy that I found out why I felt my whole life that I was a problematic child towards my sister when really I wasn't. It was something she did that she was afraid of doing again, so she treated me a certain way. And anyway, like, that was the whole reason why I got diagnosed with schizophrenia, was because I had an epiphany after some crazy stuff happened on my computer and showed me videos of things. And I kind of had a flash of like my whole memory flashed between my eyes, and things that I compartmentalized and put away came forward in that epiphany. So when I found out that it wasn't my fault, I was happy. And I wanted to tell my mom about it. But I went to tell my mom about it and she had me hospitalized. And the same thing is going on with this Facebook now. Well, with the Facebook before, when it dressed up my buddy to look like the enemy and all this stuff to happen, I kind of took it as a sign that, like, everybody was against me, because I felt like everybody was against me. And I pulled a pipe out in front of my mom. I would have never used it or anything Like, I was just upset because I felt that since I was a child, my mom always created things that were wrong with me, and it affected my schooling, it affected my personality, it affected how I felt as a child. It affected like my my confidence levels. It affected everything, and um, I just couldn't stop thinking that like if my child had the same problems that I did, that I would have stood up for my child. And I just felt like they never stood up for me. They just kind of, yeah, he's problematic. Yeah, he's violent and not intelligent and all this stuff, like, because they put me in a behavior disorder classroom. And it was only because this kid stole my marbles and I punched him in the face because my brother taught me to stick up for myself if people are picking on me. But that story never hit the picture. I was just automatically told that I had a behavioral disorder, and that led to me having ADD, and then they put me into this special class. And like when I get older, like as I get older, I feel like I was exiled before I was even able to exist. Like I was the problem child. I was the scapegoat. I was the one who caused the issues. When really, like, how can a little child cause issues? Like, they're still children. So I blame myself, like, my whole life for a lot of things that weren't really my fault. And what I'm getting at with this Facebook thing is it's a company that I used out of trust to just be social with other people. And it was used in a manner that I never agreed to, that I never gave permission. And when they articulated my friend being like the enemy and like dressing him up and like me looking around and going through my family members' social medias and stuff like that and realizing that they didn't always have my best interests at hand, I started feeling like, wow, they really were against me and I really was used as an scapegoat, and this is real. Like, this is actually happening. And Facebook, what happened is my mom that day too, even though I didn't do anything, she called the police again. And the police came, and I was in my room listening to music, and they came and arrested me and brought me in and hospitalized me again. So not only did I realize that I was exiled from a young age, but I realized that no matter what happened in my life, and no matter what step I took to try and get revenge, or not even get revenge, but show that, like, you weren't perfect. You couldn't have possibly been the people that had my best interests at hand my whole life. Like, even though, like, because that's what came out. Like, yeah, I flashed the pipe at my mom. And it was just a little weightlifting pipe. But it was me saying, I see what you did to me as a child. I see how you used me as the scapegoat. I see how you made me into the problem child. I see how you d- just choose to condescend onto me, and no matter what I say, you're always right, and nothing I say is right. And like in a way, it's bullying. It's like bullying your kid. Like that doesn't know any better, right? So like you believe that it's all your fucking fault. All these things happening to you. But like really in a sense, like they were all problems created for you. And a year later from that, from when she got the police here, what also happened is when the police went to arrest me, they asked me to go get my coat. I went towards my bedroom and they tackled me and started using force to get me under arrest. And they were kneeing me in the head, looking up at the ceiling, saying, "Stop resisting," as they were kneeing me in the head and punching me in the face. And I was already cuffed. And they were yelling at the ceiling as he was kneeing me in the head. I'll never forget that. Like I was looking at him and he was looking up at the ceiling, yelling, "Stop resisting," because there's people in the house, and maybe he wanted to make sure that he was known to be the innocent one by exchanging blows because I was resisting. But I wasn't resisting. That's the thing. I was just getting my coat because I thought that that's what they asked me to do. So that's what I went to do. But anyway, now because he was kneeing me in the head, I grabbed him by the leg and I pinched his leg, like to try and get him to stop kneeing me in the head. And then now the peace officer charged me with assaulting a peace officer because I pinched his leg because they were arresting me and kneeing me in the head. And this is what I mean is like, how is that my fault? That I was just trying to defend myself while in restraints and being assaulted practically myself. How is that my fault? Because he went to ask me to go get my coat and I was just following directions. But I moved abruptly, I guess, and they freaked out and started getting violent with me. But then it just goes back to that issue, back to that one Facebook issue where Facebook had literally started making people around me on the social media platform look like enemies. And who do you trust when technology can just be used like that against you without your knowledge? Like the videos in 2015, the videos I seen of the shapeshifter and the money and the never ending toolbox and all that. Like that was real. But I can never prove it. And I can never prove that that was one of the biggest reasons why I came to my epiphany about my sister. And I can never prove that none of that even actually happened. I can say it did, but I can't prove it. And it really hurts, like knowing that you're not crazy and knowing that you've seen certain things and then telling people about it and them not understanding or being able to connect the dots. You know what I mean? So I'm not schizophrenic at all, but I'm diagnosed to be schizophrenic. So it's like it's really messed up because the things that I was seeing was things that were adjusted through the lens of, well, drug use and being able to see a different side of the coin because of the drug use, which is, believe it or not, when you do speed or meth or whatever, it opens up a spiritual realm that you're not aware of normally. It did, at least with me. And it changed my aspect and my view on a lot of things. And it may not seem real to other people, but it was real to me. But that doesn't make me schizophrenic. So, and it doesn't make it like, it doesn't make me blind to be able to see where problems started going wrong in my childhood all the way up to adulthood, or feeling exiled. Because I do feel like an exiled child. I feel like everybody was just kind of against me from the start, and it was all people that were closest to me. It was all people that I couldn't really see. But as I grow older, I can see them all now. Like the evils within them all, and what they did wrong, and what they won't take account for. They won't even account for themselves and their own issues. Instead, they just kind of projected onto me as if I was the problem all along. When really it takes people to teach things into other people for it to be an occurrence at all. It's frustrating, right? And it's the same with Facebook. Like, Facebook shouldn't have did that. Like, I know I'll never be able to prove it, but it did do that. And how is that okay? Like, how does Facebook not owe me anything for the abuse and the causes of a lot of turmoil and issues in my life? Like, painting up people as enemies on my social media without my knowledge of what's going on. It makes me look at people in a different view, in a different light. And if that happened, shouldn't Facebook have to be responsible for something? Not to mention, like, all the people who turned on me, made fun of me, like call me a pedophile and like all kinds of things online, just because it was cool or whatever to make fun of somebody else or spread gossip and then try and make it fact. It's the same thing as what happened to me in prison. I was on the dirty.com because my ex-girlfriend that hated me put on a bunch of raunchy, stupid shit and typed up whatever she wanted for revenge and fucking put it on the dirty.com, like put it on the web. So when I went to prison, there's people like looking up my name and like reading this article about me that wasn't even true, that was totally articulated by somebody who wanted to do exactly what it was meant to do, destroy my life. And then next thing you know, I'm fighting for my life in prison because like these people actually believed it. So like when that happened on Facebook, like, should they not have to like pay like something? Like, how come I'm always the one that has to pay for everything? I just don't understand that. Why do I have to be everyone's scapegoat? And why do I have to be against these unworldly things that like don't make any sense? And like just try and articulate or explain myself later on a YouTube video or on a video that I'm going to post onto YouTube just to try and explain like how messed up that is. Is it messed up that I took out a pipe? Yeah, well, maybe might have been a little messed up. Is it messed up because that's my mom? Yeah, I'd never do it. I'd never do it. But for that 1 second of understanding that she had caused so much issues in my life, just that one split second, it felt good. It felt like, fuck you, you know? Because she had called the police on me to get me hospitalized so many times. And it was over stupid things that had nothing to do with schizophrenia, and I know that. But it just like it's amazing how your parents or your family can project their insecurities and all their problems onto you, just as if like it was like sweeping dirt under the rug, all their own personal dirt that they've ever had, their deepest darkest secrets and their biggest faults, just hidden away, locked away, but projecting yours onto everybody else so you could be seen as this schizophrenic, mentally ill liar while they go ahead and keep living their lives as these extraordinary beings that did no wrong and had no blame in any of your shortcomings. My brother once said to me, I won't be surprised if Keelan freaks out and kills you both. Like, I was just thinking at my time, that's such a psycho thing to say, Scott, like about me and my parents. But I mean, like, now that I think about it, I'm like, they did create a lot of issues in my life. And they just brought it out of nowhere. And from the very beginning, like, who does that to a kid? Because I can see it in my sister. I can see how she developed and, like, how she's all good and shit. And I can see it in my brother, how he developed. And I can see it in how I developed. And I'm the worst out of all three. Like, I ended up being the worst out of all three. Which is like, it's messed up when you see it from my point of view, because I was the one with the will, I was the one with the love, I was the one with the honesty, I was the one with the kindness and the loyalty, and yet none of that served me in the end. And sometimes you just feel like things, like people are just against you, and they purposely like betray you and like help destroy you. You start getting like, you start to go crazy because you're like, why do I deserve this? Why is all this happening? Is it just bad luck? But then you realize, no, I really was the exiled child. I really was the scapegoat. I really was easy to project problems onto. Do I have any reason as to believe why Facebook did the technology transparent shit that it did, I have no reason. I have no reason, or I have no. Yeah, I have no reasons as to why that even happened. Like, I don't know Mark Zuckerberg, and I don't have anything against Mark Zuckerberg, but I know that his platform did some shady fucking shit while I used it. And it wasn't just drug use, because there was times that it happened and I wasn't even on drugs. It was just like really, really strange, because all the trails that I went down and the things that had happened didn't leave any evidence or didn't leave any trace. But I remember that happening and going that way and doing that thing. And I remember in my head, I still have the image in my head of how it dressed one of my friends to make him out to look like an enemy. Like I was a commander and I was zapping aliens or something. And I know and I remember it. Like I remember it very clearly. And I don't understand why that was done to me. I don't understand why it was depicted like that. Because it started an avalanche of shit within my life. But when you watch things get manipulated and technology that you use to socialize then becomes weaponized and you can't prove it, what do you do? Well, this is what I'm doing. Trying to get it out. Like something was going on there between two realms, between two different worlds. One world I can see, I could see when I was tapped in on drugs, and then the other world I was used to and blind to see that I was exiled from the beginning. It's really messed up. Are you on the mouse? Oh, you are on the mouse. I was like, okay. Yeah, it's just me and Doggo. He was on the mouse. Because I seen things going on with my computer again, and I was like, what's going on here? Hopefully it's not doing it again. But yeah. It's just something I wanted to tape and I wanted to explain as best as I could, even though it's very minuscule of a construct to be able to explain, because really it's to the normal average person, like this stuff would all be nonsense, but if you think about it, it could be done. There could be people out there that could have done this, and almost like Hollywooded in these attributes and these things that happened without anybody even noticing or able to notice. All while very, 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 very intelligently timing everything, knowing that there was only certain windows to do certain things. And I mean, it takes an extremely intelligence to be able to do that. But I think that people have hidden these kind of things from other people for since the beginning of time. And I think like there's all kinds of things that are unexplainable that are very real. And one of those things is well, what I just said. I've been exiled since I was a child. Facebook used technology to manipulate me, and there's no evidence of it. There's the videos that I seen of the never-ending toolbox and shape-shifting, alien weaponry, alien mobilization, and money. And these were all depictions that I seen through my computer. And it was always when I was under the influence of something. But it doesn't mean that it didn't happen. And it doesn't mean that there's not somebody that couldn't have placed it purposely at that point in time. Because for a while, it almost felt like people purposely got me involved in certain things just so I'd fall a certain way. You never know. You never know. And sometimes it feels like that. And no, God, no, I'd never fucking do the unthinkable and hurt my family. But I just want them to know that I know that I didn't deserve all of the problems that I've been given. I just want them to know that they helped create them, along with the government and my schooling and like everything. Because I was a really smart kid. And I think I could have been so much more than I am now. That's partially why I wanted to record this. Just so, like, if anybody would know or if anybody would care to understand my point of view on it. And this is just one video. It really covers nothing compared to the big picture. Huh. AI said I was Darth Vader. That's pretty funny. Anyway, there's some things that are funny and some things that are not. And I don't think it was funny that Facebook messed with my personality. I don't think it's funny that Facebook messed with my mind. I wonder who actually did. Maybe it was some external force that was hacking for some reason through Facebook to paint it as Facebook when it wasn't Facebook. Or maybe it really was Facebook. I don't know. But that's the strange thing about these occurrences that happened to me, is they were all done in a manner where I couldn't prove that they had been done. And if I had recorded them at the time, like other recordings I had of evidence of things that were happening to me, they would have been deleted. Like when I took a picture of my name that was changed to Keelan Helen Ekbar or Akirit Bar or something like that. And I took a picture of it and I went back into my photos, and guess what? The photo's gone. Every time that I've taken pictures or video of anything to prove any of my accusations towards anything, it's always been dissected and removed. So I know that I'm dealing with something that's very out of my fucking, it's out of my ball court. I just wish I knew what it was and why. Why fuck with me? I really try to be a good person. And like, just hearing some of the files that the government has about me and the way that it explains who I am, it's all so wrong. They have it all wrong and they make it seem like I'm such a beast when I'm not. It's like Beauty and the Beast. Like how all the townsfolk thought about the beast. But then the beauty met him and he was actually a really good guy. Yeah, it's kind of like me. I kind of relate to that. I've always been kind. I've always tried to help. I've saved lives. What more do you want from me? Why does everybody hate me? Or why does everything seem to be against me? It's like the weirdest thing, you know? When something bigger than yourself, you know, is entwined with your life, but you can't prove it. Anyways, keep your stick on the ice.